Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with coverage of the last round of the 2018 Candidates Tournament, High Drama. The round was played on Tuesday, March 27th, and these were the pairings: Grishuk, Caruana, Aronyan, So, Karyakin, Ding and Kramnik, Mamedyarov, and 4 of these 8 could still win the tournament. These were the standings after round 13, so before the last round. Caruana was in the lead with 8 out of 13, Karyakin and Mamedyarov were half a point behind, and Ding was a full point behind Caruana but could still win if all the results fell his way. Grishuk, Kramnik, So and Aronyan could not win the tournament anymore. There was a tweet from the world champion before the round started. Magnus Carlsen said that he saw a 70% chance for Caruana to become his next challenger. And these are the players at the start of the round. Fabiano Caruana in full concentration. And here Shahryar Mamedyarov. And it was the 12th world champion Anatoly Karpov who made the first move at the Kramnik-Mamedyarov game. Nice picture. These are the 2 other contenders, Karyakin on the left and Ding Liren on the right. So far I've shown you a whole game from start to finish in this Candidates Tournament, but for the last round I will do something different. I will show you some critical positions from the main games. There were 3 games that were important. The last one, Aronyan against So, was a very quick draw. But in the other games, the players were fighting for first place. This is the position after 26 h5 h4 in the game between Sergei Karyakin with white and Ding Liren with black. The position is about equal, but Sergei Karyakin is trying to squeeze his opponent positionally. But as Grandmaster Saruman said in the live broadcast, white was so much focusing on the positional aspects of the position that he forgot about the tactics. And we'll see a move that Karyakin himself called a big blunder. He played knight d5 here, which was a blunder because Karyakin, as he said, had forgotten about the move h3 check. Very strong move from Ding. Why is it so strong? Well, if you just take that pawn, that's not good, then black wins with g4 check. You cannot take that pawn because then there's something hanging on f1. Rook takes f1, rook takes, queen takes, queen takes, rook takes. That is an extra rook for black, so we can't do that. After g4 check you can also not return with your king, because then there is a simple pawn fork. G takes f3, forking king and queen, and his pawn is protected 3 times, and black wins here. After h3 check, Karyakin thought for a moment it was all over, but then he saw a way out. King had to go back to g1, rook takes f3, picks up a pawn, but then he had the move in g4, and he still felt he had drawing chances here. King g7, and a lot of heavy pieces were swapped. Queen takes, rook takes, rook f1, rook takes, king takes, and bishop takes a5. Black has 2 extra pawns, but because of the closed pawn formation, black cannot make progress here, and a draw was agreed 12 moves later. This result put Ding out of contention. He really had to win this game, and Karyakin had to hope for a miracle. Now both Caruana and Mamedyarov needed to lose for him to qualify for the match against Magnus Carlsen. Then on to the Kramnik-Mamedyarov game. Mamedyarov was still in the running, but he had to win with black. Kramnik had sacrificed a pawn in the opening, and in this position he had just played h2, h3, and Kramnik said, "I did not see a move for black. I'm planning to push g3 to g4, and I thought I had a great position." But here comes a tactical shot from Mamedyarov. Bishop takes f2. Kramnik said, "This move is amazing." And Mamedyarov said, "White is doing great, but for this move, this was a saving grace, but it does not give him more than an equal position." Spectacular piece sacrifice. Kramnik took it. And then, here's the point, bishop takes h3 check. Of course, you cannot take that bishop because then your queen is hanging. So after bishop takes h3 check, Kramnik stepped back with the king to g1. The queens were swapped. And here's another point of that bishop takes f2 move that now black can win 2 pieces for the rook. Rook takes e5, bishop takes e5, and then the old knight fork, winning that bishop. King g1, knight takes e5, hitting the bishop on d3, bishop stepped back, and black has 2 pawns for the exchange. He gave up his a7 pawn and was hoping to get winning chances with his c pawn, but Kramnik defended it well. The position was not even better for black, and on move 54, 17 moves after this moment, the game was drawn. This picture shows an emotional Shahryar Mamedyarov just before the draw was agreed, and this picture is from that moment as well. Mamedyarov felt that he had just missed out and was not going to win this tournament and be the next challenger for the world title. That leaves the game between Alexander Grischuk with white and Fabiano Caruana with black. This is the position after 30 rook d8 to d7 from Caruana. Both players were in terrible time trouble. They had to play the next 10 moves with very little time. Grischuk played rook a3. Not a good move. He should have taken on b5. And after a takes b5, come in with his rook to a6. After rook a3, Caruana played a crucial move d4. Now Grischuk took on b5. A takes b5. And he took on d4. Knight takes d4. Hitting the rook. Rook e a2. Knight c6, good move. Bishop e4, and now we get some trades in an unusual way. Bishop takes e5, bishop takes c6, rook takes d6, and bishop takes b5. We've swapped a piece and a pair of pawns, but all 4 captures were on different squares. Quite nice. Rook d1 check, king e2, rook g1, hitting the g2 pawn, king e3, protecting that pawn. Rook b1, rook a7 check was Grischuk's 40th move, and king f6 was Caruana's 40th move. Caruana said afterwards he wasn't sure his position was winning after the time control, but he has a better position. This pawn is very dangerous. But we have opposite colored bishops on the board, and then you never know. Grischuk tried bishop d7, trying to get counterplay against the e6 pawn. Bishop f4 check, king e2, rook d8, saving that rook. And now you cannot play a move like rook 2 to a6 to get real counterplay against that e-pawn, because then there is rook b2 check, very nice move. You cannot go to d1, because then there is rook d2 check, and it's check, and we are attacking the bishop with 2 pieces. We're going to win a piece with black. So after rook b2 check, you have to go to f1, and then black sacrifices an exchange. Rook takes d7, rook takes d7, and c3, and the next move will be c2, and this is very good for black. So this is after rook d8 and then rook 2 to a6. Grischuk saw the danger and played rook c2, attacking the c4 pawn. Caruana took the b4 pawn, is now a pawn up, and is threatening bishop b8, and the rook can no longer defend the bishop. So Grischuk played bishop c6, c3, and that pawn cannot be taken. Rook takes c3 would be a blunder, because the white king will get mated. Rook d2 check, that rook is protected by the bishop. King e1, and mate in 2. Rook interposes and checkmate. Very nice move, c3. Rook d7 was played by Grischuk. Rook c8 by Caruana. Bishop e4 and h5. Around this time, Kramnik and Mamedyarov had drawn their game. The game between Karyakin and Ding had already been drawn quite some time before that. But Caruana said afterwards he was not tempted to offer a draw himself in this much better position. He said, "My position was so good with absolutely no counterplay for white that I decided to play on." King d3, rook b2, king e2, h4, rook d1, king e5, rook a1, rook d8, rook d1, rook db8, and rook a1. Caruana did not want to draw. He could have repeated moves here. Bishop d2. He really wants to win. Now he clears the way to hopefully get his king into white's position this way. He only needed a draw to qualify, but as said, he felt he took no risk by playing on. Quite brave, I must say. Rook a6, rook d8, rook c6, rook b1, king f2, rook a1, rook c4, rook d4, rook c8, both sides maneuvering. Rook b4, very difficult to play for white, this of course. Black can slowly improve his position, try different things, there's no rush. King e2, white has to try and keep everything together. King f4, king f2 to make sure the king does not come to g3, that would be disaster. Rook bb1, rook f8 check, king back, bishop d3, rook b2, king e2, a little check, king f2, the rook goes back to c1, pair of rooks was swapped on b2, rook b8 behind the pass pawn, bishop c3, bishop e4, a check, king stepped aside, and there comes the black king. Again, king f4, rook b4, e5 protecting the bishop, and preparing for the king to come to g3, which happened on the next move. Rook b7, king g3, and black is going to win the g2 pawn, probably also the h3 pawn, and this position is beyond repair. Alexander Grischuk resigned, and Fabiano Caruana was the winner of the 2018 Candidates Tournament and will challenge Magnus Carlsen for the world title in November in London. The first American since Bobby Fischer who achieved this level. A few more pictures. Here the handshake between Grischuk and Caruana, and 30 seconds later Grischuk is still signing the score sheet and Caruana already got an American flag draped around his shoulders. So it's official. From November 8th till 28th we'll see the World Championship match between Magnus Carlsen from Norway and Fabiano Caruana from the USA, 46 years after Bobby Fischer played for the world title, the last American who did so. The results from round 14, we saw Grischuk Caruana, a win for black. Aronian and So played a quick draw, I mentioned that. Karjakin and Ding also a draw. Karjakin was ready to positionally squeeze his opponent, but then he made that tactical error with h3 check. And Kramnik and Mamedyarov also a draw. Mamedyarov came up with that amazing bishop takes f2 move, but it did not give him more than an equal position, and Kramnik was never going to lose that. The final standings of the Candidates 2018. Caruana, the deserved winner, a full point ahead of Karjakin and Mamedyarov. Ding a half a point behind them. Grischuk 6.5, same as Kramnik, and So on 6 points, and Aronian will be very disappointed on 4.5. Who has won the book? The book David versus Goliath. It's FPEP. FPEP said Fabiano will play through and make up for that 2016 loss to Karjakin. Thanks, Rick. Well, I put all the comments on the video of round 13 who said Caruana in a hat. I picked one, and FPEP won this book. So FPEP, if you send me your address on classroomchess@gmail.com, then I will send you the book. I will put it in the post tomorrow. And I have another book to give away to celebrate this wonderful Candidates Tournament, and this is this book, Chess for Life from Matthew Sadler and Natasha Regan. You can win it by putting in a comment underneath this video, and please write who you will think will win the World Championship match between Carlsen and Caruana, and by what score. 12 games. Will there be a tie-break? Just let me know what you think, and just by putting in that comment you will be in the raffle to win that Chess for Life book I will announce the winner in the next video. The picture on the thumbnail is from a very happy Fabiano Caruana in his final press conference. Hope you enjoyed this video and the coverage of the 2018 Canada's tournament. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel and please leave a comment. And as you know, you can win this Chess for Life book just by putting in a comment saying what you think the score will be in that World Championship match that we'll have in November. You also may want to check out my Chess to Progress channel. The link is in the description box. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.